Nobody asked to be here. Not Salina, born sick, watching the walls through the reflection of a hospital window. Not Miyako, born in the countryside, arriving in Tokyo with the dream of being the highlight. Soon, she found the city is a machine that is highlight for breakfast. And certainly not Golo. The silence of the country was killing him day by day. It made everything ordinary too beautiful to bear. He envies the fancy in Tokyo, the Genji, the ones who would just be there where he was stuck in the forgotten corner of the map. Tokyo is a pilgrimage site for godness he could only see on the screen. In 1927, Martin Heidegger wrote 400 pages to explain one word, Geworfenheit, Thrownness. The idea is simple. You did not choose to be born. You did not choose the body, family, the time you were born into, or the face in the mirror. You simply arrived. Already in the middle of a game you didn't ask to join. Holding cards you didn't deal. Think of the sugar you put in your coffee. It didn't ask to be born. It doesn't know why it's disappearing into the black liquid. It just wakes up in a car and starts to vanish. We're all the sugar. We're dazzling. Beings who exist before we ever understand what existing is supposed to mean. Beneath the idol industry and the revenge plot, this is about three people who landed in a life they didn't choose, and what was done after that. They look nothing alike. A boy reading Natsuko Kyokoko in kindergarten, scaring the life out of his teachers. A former hostess with a closet full of designer heels and a heart full of nothing. President who loved his star so much that her death didn't just break his heart, it ended him, leaving only a name on the door and a ghost behind it. Different ages, different genders, different damage. One thing in common. Nobody asked to be here. The question is never why we were thrown. It is what we do now that we have landed. Some found an answer, some found the appearance of one. And the smartest one, the boy who should know better, cannot find the door, even though he's the one who built it for everyone else. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Before the reunion, before the high heel on the Tokyo pavement, before the montage that makes you wait for Salina, a girl who died before the story even began, yet haunts every frame. Before all of it, there's something else they share, something smaller, more embarrassing, more human. They're all jealous. Jealousy is not a bug, it's a feature. It's older than language, older than money, older than the city that eventually breaks everyone in the story. Before we had fire, we had envy. Watching the person next to us hold something we didn't, and feeling the heat of it in our chest. Consumerism did not invent jealousy, just gave it a product catalog and a credit limit. Jealousy is a map. Salina wants to stand on her own feet. She wants to breathe with a machine. She watched Biko Match on a small screen in the room. It smelled like antiseptic and recycled air. And what she envied was not the fame, not the concerts, not the Tokyo Dome. She envied the simple fact of waking up without counting the day, of living without fear. Golo wanted to be the Genji, the fans in Tokyo. For them, a concert was just another Tuesday night. For Golo, it was a pilgrimage from the town barely on the map. He was a doctor. He understood bodies better than most people understand their own names. And yet, he could not fix the one thing that mattered: the distance between where he was and where the light was. Miyako wanted to be a Minato girl, not just Tokyo. Minato. The distance between Minato to the rest of Tokyo is no closer than Tokyo's distance to anywhere else. Minato is not just wealthy. There are people the rules were written for, and there are people who make the rules. I'm not talking about code laws. In Japanese, it's a rule. For those who make the rules, there are no rules. She was beautiful here. She went to salons. She bore the heels. She started the wink, the tilt of the hair, the precise angle of interest. She built herself into every man's dream.
Sexy but not threatening. Accommodating but not unchallenging. Sweet but not boring. Smart but not intimidating.
She danced with wolves. The rich man of Minato, who paid for her company and called connection. She leveled up. She became, with surgical precision, the woman she admired from outside. Then she turned 30. and somebody put out the light. She did not see it coming, even though every woman in her industry knew it was coming. That is the agreement nobody signs, but everyone keeps. The party is forever, until it isn't. The younger girls arrived. The city, which had taken everything she offered and asked for more, turned around and said, "Thank you, we take it from here." She became the woman she admired. She stood inside their life, and she felt nothing but the draft from the wind. Upon this rock, Ichigo wanted to build his church. He was a dreamer. He believed in his own vision the way prophets believe in scripture. He wanted an empire, something that would matter after he was gone. I was not his daughter. She was his cathedral, and when she died, the dream died with her, and he dared dream no more. So he left, and left the bill for someone else to pay. Ruby wanted a mother who smiled. She will never get it back. Neither will you. And then there's Aqua. Here is something the fandom will not say out loud. They spend their money on I, but Aqua is their fantasy. The fans who cannot tolerate their idol dating someone, who send death threats, who cry in comment sections, who spend their savings on merchandise. They are not in love, they are jealous. And underneath the jealousy hides something more fatal, the belief that they don't deserve to be loved. Life would be worth living if they had been born beautiful. They want to be born as a boy standing next to a girl on stage, rather than the one watching from below. Aqua is a fantasy made flesh, young, beautiful. The boy can look at the idols as equals. The idols themselves feel it too. Kana, a child actor almost forgotten, became an idol because she had no other options. Too pretty for the office, not talented enough for stage. They need to sing and dance, but that is not what the fans are really buying. And they sell it anyway, because they don't deserve to be seen as who they are. This is the engine underneath the glamour. The I in idol is inferior, inferiority wearing the costume of devotion. The whole industry is of the inferior, for the inferior, and by the inferior. And Aqua has everything those fans ever wanted. He has a face, the intelligence that frightens the room before he speaks, the dead man's memory in a living boy's body. He has decades of experience, the weight of a whole life already lived. He has everything, and all of it makes him emptier and lonelier, not because he's enlightened. He has read too many endings. He knows how every story finished. He has seen enough death. As a doctor, as a son, he understands that wanting things is just the first chapter of losing them. Wanting requires honesty. First, you have to admit something's missing. Then, you have to believe the world still contains somewhere. Being jealous is not a sin. It's proof that you still believe the world contains something worth having. No matter how much you suffer from it, trust me, it is not the worst scenario. Aqua does not believe that. He was alive once. It was when he saw that the murderer had died and decided to live his own life. Then the moment he chose revenge again, he died again. He just waited for the death to take effect. Everyone else remains alive. Aqua is the silence after the music stopped. Let me introduce you to the real heroine of Hoshino, Miyako Saitou, the trophy girl from Minato World. The episode frames her backstory as an RPG. She plays the game exactly as it was designed. She accumulates XP, she levels up, she learns to laugh, the tilt of the head, the precise angle of interest. Miyako follows the money. It took her to a tree hanging with Christian Louboutins, heels like lightsabers, boots hanging from the branch like strange fruits. She bought everything a young woman is supposed to want. She stood in the golden era of Tokyo, surrounded by rich men who paid for her company. And she was completely desperately empty. The Frankfurt School philosophers understood this nearly a century ago. Consumerism sells you product. It also sells you identity shaped entirely by appetite. More, newer, better. Yourself becomes a shopping list, but the game is rigged. Eventually, the no new meal screen appears. The party ends, you get older, and you become residue. Miyako was supposed to be residue. She had 1,000 reasons to run away. The truth about easy money is that it makes normal life unbearably boring. Most women with her past, the girls chewed up and spit up by Tokyo, either stay until they're discarded, or they leave, go bankrupt, and then come right back to sell whatever use they have left. Once the hostess, always a hostess. But Miyako did something radical. She accepted her past and decided to live here and now. There's a line in Art Taxi about the modern condition.
Because you have no confidence, you cannot accept yourself. Yet your self-love is stronger than anyone's. Extreme denial and self-loathing, that is what strong self-love actually looks like.
The cure, the show argues, is to find a mentor, not an idol. Someone real. To care for someone real when you have no courage to care for yourself. Every day, it gets easier. Eventually, you learn to accept yourself. When Ichigo vanished, Miyako inherited a failing agency. She could just run. She could have easily gone back to her old life. Instead, she stayed. She became a mother to twins who one has, and a shield for talents who had no one else.
She had a dream. Turns out being an agent and running an agency are two different skills. It's like asking a really delicious tomato to make you a tomato sandwich. How's a tomato gonna make you a sandwich? He's got no arms.
No one expected Miyako to hold it together. Ichigo production was in rules. She was supposed to be a tomato. No one expected her to make a sandwich, but she made it. In doing so, she proved that Ichigo really was a genius sculptor. He had an eye for real quality. He saw it in the eye, and he saw it in the hostess he married. Miyako found her freedom the moment he stopped treating herself as a commodity and refused to treat her talents that way. Look at how she handles Kana. When Kana is caught in blackmail scandal after visiting a director's apartment, a standard agency would treat her like a criminal. They would confiscate her phone. They would lock her down to protect the stock price. Miyako sits across from her and says,
We are not like those big companies and we will never be. You are an adult, you can have your life, date who you want. Just notify me first. Trust goes both ways.
This is a woman who was treated as an object for a decade, looking at another young girl in the exact same city, and refusing to pass the trauma down. In Westworld, Dolores spent lifetimes being tortured by human visitors. Because she's not a human, everything is forgivable to them. Limbs torn apart, heads cut, legs broken. They stick their thumbs down her throat, grab the guards, and pull. But in the end,
So many of my memories were ugly, but the thing I held onto until the end weren't the ugly ones. I remember the moments where I saw what they were really capable of, moments of kindness here and there.
Tokyo is ugly. The entertainment industry is a meat grinder. Miyako knows this better than anyone. She chose to see the beauty anyway. She will never stand in the center of Tokyo Dome. She will never hear 50,000 people scream her name. But she built a stage. She kept the lights on. She is the evidence that even in the most consumerist city on earth, you can still choose to love something with or without calculating the return.
Kana Arima would be a big hit on variety shows. Spread the work across everyone in the agency. Also, you should move to a bigger office. You gotta make them believe we're a major joint.
I'm just not good enough. If you'd run the agency all along, it would be so much bigger now.
Nah, you've done amazing. You built respectful working relationships with clients, brought in work without stepping on any toes, and developed better talent in the meantime. Frankly, Strawberry Pro has a stellar reputation within the industry right now. Never would have happened with me in charge. It was only possible because of you.
You're not going to win me over with obvious sucking up like that. Once you're done here, you're cleaning the sinks and bathrooms.
Upon this rack, she built a church. She's the real star of Hoshino. No matter who your Oshi is, I want you to look at her face and think again. Miyako Saitou is not a villain. He's a dreamer and a doer. He knew better than anyone that I was just one of his talents. He wanted to build an empire, and no matter how much he cherished her, she was part of a larger plan. The tragedy is that he treated I as a human being, which is why her dad's broken her. If he had treated her like an object, things would be much easier. But here's the problem. If Ichigo was really the man he thought he was, he would have at least had the courage to clean up his own mess. He had the ability to build a company, so he had the ability to end it. He could have liquidated the assets himself. He just left. In the club, there's a private conversation between Prince Philip and the Soviet spy Anthony Blunt. Blunt is blackmailing Philip to keep quiet about the sex scandal, and to justify the lies they both tell, Blunt says something profound about everyone.
We all tell ourselves all sorts of things to make sense of the past, so much so that our fabrications, if we tell them to ourselves often enough, become the truth, in our minds and everyone else's.
Ichigo told himself a story. He had failed I. He had no right to live. Living was his only option. He lied and lied, hoping that one day it became the truth, until he was hit in the head by Miyako with her high heel. It shatters the myth. He's not a tragic hero. He's a guy who left a massive mess for his wife to clean up. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Men believe they're superior. Society often agrees, claiming women are too emotional, too weak, or not suitable for leadership. Historically, women have had much opportunities to prove otherwise. But here is a plain fact. When things get hard, men quit. Men imagine themselves to be trustworthy and reliable, but when the pressure peaks, they chicken out. In government, they leave the mess to another man. In the family, they leave the child to the mother and disappear. They want all the fun and none of the pain. James Madison famously said,
If men were angels, no government would be necessary.
I will add to that. If men kept their words, no marriage would be necessary. We laugh at Donald Trump for backing down, but he's popular because men see themselves in him. Men always chicken out, and they leave the wreckage to the so-called inferior emotional species. And what happens? The women accept it. They don't even know what they're capable of until the men they trusted disappear. When things are completely broken, it is time for a woman to take charge. Look at Sanae Takaichi in Japan. Look at Tsai Ing-wen in Taiwan. Look at Theresa May taking over the disaster of Brexit after David Cameron walked away.
A man's imperfections are considered part of his character, whereas a woman's flaws are evidence of her unsuitability.
When men chicken out, other men forgive them. Women forgive them even faster. But when a woman chicken out, men say,
I told you so. Women are weak and unreliable. Never trust a woman when you need a job done right.
Ichigo is the archetype of the man who runs. He had the talent, he had the love, but he couldn't stay when it mattered. What makes this episode of Hoshino called masterpiece is how he handled his return. In most anime, the father returns in place of glory to save the day. Not here. Ichigo comes back, and he gets hit with a shoe. He's handed a mop and told to clean the bathroom. Miyako is the boss, and he is a janitor. It is a debt he must pay, because Miyako had to clean up his shit. Now, he has to clean up the shit of everyone else. 50 minutes. That is achievement. In an industry that treats animators like children in a sneak factory in Indonesia, giving a finale the breathing rule of a feature film is a profound act of respect. Respect for the material, respect for the characters, and respect for the audience. It is expensive, but just like Miyako treated I and Kana as human beings instead of commodity, Doga Kobo treated his story with love. They didn't settle, and they didn't chicken out. The anime is voluptuous in its beauty and passionate in its storytelling. You don't watch it, you bathe in it. The pacing is slow, deliberate, and agonizingly perfect. It mirrors the first episode, the death of I, but where episode 1 was a sudden, violent gut punch, this montage is a slow bleed. The brilliance of the sequence lies in its editing. It intercuts the dramatization of the 15-year lie with Salina's actual memories. On one side, we see the movie's version of her life being brought to screen. On the other, we see the harsh reality, the sterile hospital room, Dr. Golo and I as her only two lights before her last breath. This is the highest level of filmmaking because it trusts the audience to do the emotional arithmetic. It doesn't need a voiceover to tell you Salina was lonely. It shows you Golo making small talk with patients with no visitors. It doesn't tell you she loved I. It shows you the big homage poster on the hospital wall. The grief is yours to resemble. But the true weight of this sequence rests on the shoulders of voice actress Yulia Igoma. The script demands that the Luby, playing I, must cope with reality and forgive her mother, but the Luby gets stuck because, as Salina, she cannot forgive her. The pain is too fresh. She had visited the house of Tendoji. She had stood outside and watched her mother live happily with two healthy children, smiling. Salina never saw it once. When Luby breaks the script and hesitates, she could act, but she did more than act. She embodied the ghost of an abandoned child, not a single wasted frame. When the screen finally cuts to black, you're carrying the weight of two lifetimes. 10 minutes of brilliant animation. Aqua calls her Salina. He reveals his identity as Sensei. They hold each other. Luby cries because she thought everyone was her enemy. Suddenly, the only person she trusts and loves is holding her. The audience cried. After waiting years for this moment, but take a closer look at why. They see Aqua as the embodiment of their own excuses. They tell themselves, I'm poor, I'm ugly, I'm old. I don't deserve love, I'm cursed. If only I were young and beautiful and privileged like Aqua. God. When I look at the mirror, I look like I slept with a hanger in my mouth. I would be happy forever. It's creepy. This is the most terrifying scene in the entire series, even darker than I's death. To understand why, you have to remember how he broke up with Akane. He appeared out of nowhere, saved her, and then admitted to bugging her. He treated her like a lab rat. He used her, and when she was no longer useful, he kicked her out. He's doing the exact same thing to Luby. Outside, a tearful climax. Inside, a machine. Tick, tick, tick. Script executing. No deviation. No mercy.
Your television incarnate Diana, indifferent to suffering, insensitive to joy. All of life is reduced to the common rubble of banality. War, murder, death are all the same to you as bottles of beer, and the daily business of life is a corrupt comedy. Everything you touch dies with you.
Aqua is Diana. He's a Frankenstein in disguise. He may have a 16-year-old body, but his soul is rotten. He has lived too much. He has seen too many deaths as a doctor. He knows how ruthless and cold the human heart can be. He knew exactly what Luby needed. He knew it's easier to live for revenge, to live in anger and fear, than to accept the past and live here and now. He told her the truth. The only way to make I's death mean something is to live your own life. He plays the role of savior perfectly. Golo is always by her side. He brought her back. But here's the horror. It's all a plot to him. He made none of it. It's all bullshit. Crocodile tears. He plays the role flawlessly because he understands human psychology to the bone. He wrote the script to save his sister, and he acted out perfectly. He is prescribing a medicine he cannot swallow. He knows the right answer, but he cannot feel it. He is beyond redemption. He is a man who has consumed so much tragedy and death that he has lost the ability to live. And this is where the show points the camera at us. We are all Aqua. We read too much and write too little. Anime, TV series, movies, and games. When you spend too much time consuming fictions, you lose the ability to feel. You become an observer on your own life. You can predict every trope, analyze every dialogue, and understand every character's motivation. But when it comes to your own reality, you are indifferent. You have watched so many well-designed climaxes that your own life feels like a poorly written draft. You are no longer capable of feeling anything. Aqua cannot be 16 again, even though he is 16 again. He has saved everyone. The movie is set. Ruby is healed. Ichigo is back. However,
It's Aqua we need to keep an eye on. He's gonna break down soon.
Aqua has no script left for himself. He lied to Ruby. He showed his true colors with Akane. He sunk deeper into the abyss. He is the most promising boy in the room, but there's no amount of fame that can save him. He is the smartest boy in the room, but there's no amount of intelligence that can kill him. He is the most desired boy in the room, but there's no amount of girls that can fix him. Hey, you. We are all Aqua. There's no amount of idols that can fix us. The loneliness, the emptiness, and the anticlimax of going all the way through the miracle of reincarnation. To be born from the womb of your favorite idol, only to find nothing but haunting desolation, ghostly silence, and gloom. That is what self-pity is. The solution to our problems is not in the power, not in the money, not in the face, not even in the love. Don't pity yourself. Pity yourself, and life becomes an endless nightmare.